Is our government and authorities are giving required attention to higher education? I feel no. In this video, I will be discussing some insight from the recently released union budget. I will be discussing points related to education, especially higher education. When we consider the budget and when we consider the allocation towards education and higher education, it can be seen that there is a drastic reduction from 57,000 crore to 47,000 crore. There is a reduction of 10,000 crore budget in the higher education sector. We know India is growing, the youth population is growing, the rate of unemployment is growing. So the only solution or the major solution we have to do is to invest in education, especially in higher education sector. It is in such a situation we can see a reduction of 10,000 crore funding in higher education. Definitely, it's going to have a lot of serious implication in the future. And the second aspect is related to the allocation of fund to UGC. Previously, in the last budget, around 5,300 crore of fund was directly allocated to UGC, and this time there is a reduction of around 50%. It has to come to around 2,500 crores. UGC is a apex authority providing funds, fellowships in the higher education sector. It provides funds and grants to central universities, state universities, and many other educational institutions. But the government is now saying that now onwards the Ministry of Education will be providing the grant directly, which means that UGC is going to be what we can say a regulatory body alone. This will have a lot of adverse implication, especially if the Ministry of Education is going to give a grant to different universities, whether it's a state or national level. There is a possibility that there should be some sort of political considerations while allowing the funds to higher education. The union government may give more fund to state universities or university for those states in which the ruling party is somewhat okay to them, or maybe the party they are aligned to them. So this is definitely going to create a lot of negative impacts in the higher education funding sector. Along with that, when we consider the allocation of a fund in comparison to the GDP, it still seems to be very low. Still now, only 4% of the total funding or 4% of the GDP goes to education. This is way below the global average of around 5% and the Indian goal of 6%. From the first education policy in 1960 onwards, India has aimed at making minimum of 6% of the GDP allocated to education. Even after more than 50 years of existence, still we are far behind that. This is also going to create a lot of issue, a lot of adverse effects on the growth of Indian higher education sector. So it's very important the authorities, all the stakeholders understand the importance of investing in higher education, and all those who are related with the higher education protest against this in a democratic way, so that higher education gets a required priority so as to resolve most of the issues being faced by Indian society.